Jeremy Corbyn has gone after Keir Starmer after his resignation speech. This is what Starmer said.
6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told time and time again that my party was finished, that we were consigned to history, that a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority, was impossible. But we proved those people wrong because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism, restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag.
Seeing this man resign has been one of the best things I've seen this year. The best things I've seen for a couple of years, actually. I really despised this man, and he constantly lies. But I suppose that was the perfect speech. He ended on a U-turn because just days before he said he was going to fight a leadership election, and he resigns. He also ended his speech on lies, because this man is a serial, if not pathological, liar. When he stood for Labour leadership, he was going to take the Jeremy Corbyn manifesto 2017 and he was going to run with it. He had his 10 pledges: nationalisation, scrapping university tuition fees, a ethical foreign policy, what, like siding with a genocide. And he scrapped it almost immediately. People around him knew he was lying. He was lying to the membership just to get elected. And of course, at the end there, he said, you know what? The Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn, he doesn't name her, but that's who he means, was morally bankrupt. But Jeremy Corbyn clapped back and he called it an insult.
I was extremely angry about it. I was proud to be elected and to lead the Labour Party, elected twice to lead it, proud of the policies we developed, all of which were endorsed by Keir Starmer. And when I stepped down from leader of the Labour Party, the party had funds, had 600,000 members, and it had policies that were actually individually very popular across the country about social redistribution and so on. The idea it's morally bankrupt is a really disgraceful comment to make.
Keir Starmer, when he became Labour leader, seemed to go along with quite a few of the policies that you had championed. When did you realise that he was going in a very radically different direction?
By the summer of 2020, when he started making complaints and so on, having said that I was apparently his best friend, which was news to me, but there you go. He then, as you know, suspended me from membership, and then I was reinstated on membership, and then seems to spend an awful lot of time complaining about my time in the leadership. Now, anyone can disagree. That's fine. That's what politics is about. But to call it morally bankrupt and call the party financially bankrupt is nonsense. The party had funds. It had just come out of a general election campaign. We'd actually paid off all the debts during my leadership, inherited from Tony Blair's leadership. And we got the membership up to the highest in Europe of 600,000. I don't know what it is now, but I would say it's well south of 200,000.
I saw a poll quite recently, which showed that people still thought that Labour had an anti-Semitism problem. I'm just thinking, to Keir Starmer, to Morgan McSweeney, those around him, all those that usurped the Corbyn leadership and attacked the left, was it worth it to kick out the social backbone of the Labour Party, by the way, to sack people like Sam Tarry for standing on a picket line, to kick out Jeremy Corbyn, who's been in the party longer than some people have even been alive, and to give up all of its principles just for the Labour Party to get elected on a loveless landslide, for the Prime Minister to resign halfway through, and for people to still think that Labour have an anti-Semitism problem. They have done absolutely nothing. Now, the funny thing is that Keir Starmer got less votes than Jeremy Corbyn in 2017 and 2019. And Keir Starmer is the most unpopular Prime Minister. Like, Jeremy Corbyn is literally more popular than you. He got more votes than you. And yet still, on your political deathbed, you smear Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. But it's just so pathetic, but it's also ironic and funny at the same time, because it was all for nothing. They hollowed out the party. There's probably less than 200,000 members. All of that just for Keir Starmer to fucking resign and for him to become extremely unpopular and for Labour to be the most unpopular it's been in a very long time. Kevin, it almost feels like, and I truly believe this, that Starmer's biggest achievement for him personally was to purge the left. Nothing about getting into government, nothing about doing anything in government. I truly feel like he believes in his head, it was me changing the party. That was his greatest achievement.
Yeah, I mean, really, it is. It's the only thing he's done successfully. Is purge the left. He's not done anything else successfully. He didn't, like you say, he didn't get more votes than Jeremy Corbyn did, so he's not more successful in that regard. He has led a political party that has, like you say, been hollowed out, has got about a third, if that, of the membership it had under Jeremy Corbyn, when apparently it was the party of Holocaust denial, according to noted sycophant James O'Brien. But I am just mostly annoyed that you played the wrong bit of that speech. Because for me, the best bit was when he started crying. It was fucking hilarious. I take no amount of guilt in the joy I have felt towards that. I don't know that my erection will ever subside from watching this man broken by this experience. Good, you deserve it. You're a fucking monster. The idea that you can sit here calling other people racist when you were the person, Mr. Starmer, and I'm not going to call you Sir Starmer because it's a joke, Mr. Starmer, you're going to call someone else racist when you literally were echoing Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood speech, you prick. You have had the most draconian immigration policy that any government has ever had in this nation. That you call them morally bankrupt when you are engaging in a genocide, actively doing spy flights on behalf of genocide, running ops on behalf of genocide, blocking any motion to try and stop genocide at the United Nations, or indeed abstaining when America was going to do it anyway. So Starmer to be that pathetic and weak. And as you pointed out, or as Jeremy Corbyn pointed out, they weren't financially bankrupt either, whereas now they are. If a general election was fought today, I don't know that they'd be able to afford the bus fare to get to their constituencies, let alone actually campaigning much. Keir Starmer will be remembered as a genocide enforcing, corrupt liar. He is the shortest-lived Labour Prime Minister ever, which is a record he may hold forever because Labour may never have another Prime Minister. He may have killed them completely because the one person who might have been able to save the Labour Party, Andy Burnham, is essentially coming down to do northern briefcaseism. He's doing briefcase. That's it. He's not going to change it either. So the same smears, the same bullshit is gonna continue. So that Labour Party is dead, and Keir Starmer killed it, along with his own political career, his legacy, and well, everything else is touched.
Because you could argue that Tony Blair didn't kill the party because it became morally bankrupt, in my view. The Iraq War, PFI, tax to benefits. But he didn't, institutionally purge the left. He allowed some leftists on the cabinet. It was just a horribly right-wing version of Labour, but he didn't kill the party. And Jeremy Corbyn came out of that. But Keir Starmer did, because he's turned it into a clique. And it's so funny listening to like the Blairites and Starmerites, all up until the general election when they said that Jeremy Corbyn represented a hard left clique. And it's like, no, because Corbyn's Labour increased to 600,000. Like, more people joined it. That's not a clique. But purging people, even not just socialists, not just those who are pro-Palestinian, but like soft left people who voted against the 2-child benefit cap, and then a year later to scrap it, but after you purged people, like, that's a fucking right-wing clique.
Yeah. I just have to stop you. There's no such thing as a Starmerist. Because Starmerism isn't a thing. It doesn't exist. Yeah. It isn't. There are no policies that one can really define as Starmer, other than
briefcaseism. Briefcaseism, I suppose.
Yeah. Other than setting up a quango to decide on having a subcommittee for a public inquiry to discover what might be a thing that we could maybe do as a policy in government at some point in the future.
And it would cost millions to do so.
Yeah. Asking KPMG to come up with a policy isn't a policy. mate. Do you know what I mean? He's just, he will be remembered to the degree he's remembered at all, because he is one of the most insanely forgettable blank pieces of paper, a balloon with a negative, a neutral face drawn on it. Right? He's just a pointless, empty suit, a husk, a glove puppet for Morgan McSweeney. The degree to which he is remembered, he will be remembered as a genocider and nothing else.
Well, the thing is, I think you're probably right about him not being remembered. Like, at the moment, he's like the most hated. He's breaking records and being hated. But if you look back in history at political leaders and British prime ministers, the ones that stand out are the ones who, rightly or wrongly, were bold.
Well, not just the ones that lasted, like Liz Truss was bold, lasted, yeah. But no one even now remembers Liz Truss, and she was only a couple of years ago. Well, 4 or 5 years ago. But
like Keir Starmer won't be, and I think a lot of right wingers, but he'll definitely be remembered as the least popular prime minister. I don't think that's even the case, because again, he's bland, and apart from the genocides, people are going to be like, I don't really know what he stood for. People are going to remember Boris Johnson. They absolutely will, and I think they will remember Jeremy Corbyn, because Jeremy Corbyn also, not just as Labour leader, but has been a campaigner and has extra parliamentary political campaigns. Like that also makes his legacy bigger. But yes, Starmer's never going to be remembered, and I'm glad. I hope he's forgotten, because I despise him that much. I almost don't want him to be remembered as hated. I want him to be remembered as not remembered at all.
I want him to be remembered as an inmate of The Hague, but unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal or indeed just world. But he will be the next time he gets mentioned in British politics will be the last time, and that will be whoever becomes the next most unpopular prime minister ever. And they'll say he's just overtaken Keir Starmer, who was the most previous one, and that will be the second death of the prime ministership of Keir Starmer. In that he will be the last time he will ever be mentioned, because who gives a fuck?
Yep, I mean you're right about Andy Burnham. His statements about welfare to fund defence.
Well,
immigration.
What does he actually want to do differently? I'd love him or anyone else to tell me this. Like, I almost want Al Carnes to stand because as my MP, it would be very funny to see him get battered.
I don't know who's your MP.
Yeah, he is literally Al Carnes is actually my MP. He's never been here. He's not from here. He's like the ultimate carpetbagger piece of shit. But yeah, he is my MP. So it'd be funny to see him get absolutely battered, and he would get absolutely battered. But there actually is a serious point there that I'd like to see it happen, just on the basis that it would force Andy Burnham to actually come up with some sort of policy position.
Yeah, I want to see a contest. Yeah. Even though we know he's going to win, I want him to be really grilled. Not that his opponents are going to grill him, because they're just going to probably pivot to the right of him, and he'll sound like the lefty or whatever. But I want to see it happen.